And stepping up next to the NFC NOW platform, the champ is here ahead of his. Is this going to be your professional debut, brother?
It is. Long
Josh,
time.
the Dozer, Koser, goatee is looking healthy, man. Look like you just put that Just for Men on there, my man. That thing is looking clean and clear and color. What's up, my bro?
Yeah, I had a little beard oil I had to put in there earlier. You know what I mean? Just got some more for my birthday, actually.
You look good, man. You look good. And you got a big fight coming up against Walter Flores on Jesse Wable's amateur series November 4th, man. How you feeling ahead of the fight?
I'm feeling good. We're training at least twice a day, unless it's sparring day. I'm taking Saturdays off, dialed in, eating clean, drinking a gallon of water a day. I'm ready.
On weight, you good to go?
Yeah, I'm not quite on weight just yet, but we got about 10 days. I'm pretty much right where I need to be. I like to say the last of it is pretty much water. So,
Do we call you Josh or call you the Dozer or just call you Jesse's BFF?
definitely not the last one. Yeah, I mean, whatever you think, man. Josh, Joshua, Dozer, Koser.
How many fights have you had for the NFC? Do you know?
That's a good question. I want to say all of them except for like maybe my first 5. So probably 10, maybe 11.
What was the worst show without telling the name? What was the worst, shittiest, most unorganized show you fought for? And tell us the story why it sucked.
Oh, man, I was hoping you wouldn't call me out on that. I would have to say.
You don't have to say the name of the promoter if you don't want to.
It was a promotion out in Athens. I was actually cool with the guy at first, but it was just kind of run a little bit politically. The guy's brother was in the promotion, and they tried to set up a fight between me and him, and there was this big fiasco regarding the belt and like carrying it out and stuff. And I think it was just a lot of it had to do with just budget, I think. But
when we talk about politics and promotions, one could obviously say that, you and Jesse, which is NFC's lead matchmaker, that could be a conflict of interest, man. From my perspective, Jesse hasn't given you any easy fights. From my perspective, and you'll go in there with killers. You won in there with Malcolm Wellmaker. You won in there with Nathan Rivera. You go in there with anybody who's called, man. What would you say to those who would kind of raise an eye, knowing that some, aka David Oblas, could consider you Jesse's BFF?
Yeah, I mean, we were actually just talking about this the other day. If anybody thinks that I have any kind of political advantage with the NFC because me and Jesse grew up, just haven't seen my resume as an amateur. I mean, literally every fight I've taken was against somebody well-respected from a good gym, a good background. If anything, he's thrown me to the lion's den every time I've set out to compete. Matter of fact, he doesn't let me take easy fights because that would make both of us look bad. So, I don't really care if anybody says that, but the real ones know.
And outside even the level of fights, some people think that we affect the judges or the referees. And I've said this a million times. I think people are actually finally understanding it when they watch the UFC and when they saw Sugar Sean O'Malley get the win last week. No promotion picks the referees or judges. The only people that picks the referees and judges is the athletic commission. The athletic commission assigns them. I don't even know till the day before the fight who's working. I don't know till that night which referee is going to ref which fight. All I know is who to write the checks to. Even if you are best friends with Jesse, even outside of looking at the level of opponents, we have absolutely zero influence on the judges or referees, and more people need to understand that.
Yeah, big facts. I mean, it's all a government-based organization when it comes to the everything that goes outside of your hands. I mean, it has nothing to do with you. And, I mean, pretty much Jesse's job is to get me a fight. You're supposed to promote it. Everything else is out of our hands, the judges, the refs. So it just never made any sense to me, anybody that's ever said that, because every fight I've taken has been a tough one.
Josh, you have a decorated amateur career. What made this the time to go to the professional ranks?
I think it was just a timing thing. I've been wanting to go pro for a couple of years. I just don't think I was ready. I had a lot of other stuff I was dealing with. I was in between jobs, relationships, and living situations. So, I just had to make a call on when the right time, or for the right time. And now seems like the right time.
your opponent, Walter Flores. We had Jesse Wable on a little earlier. Walter was basically throwing the same shade that we just addressed a little earlier, that the promotion's against him. Everybody's against him, man. What do you think about your opponent? Not only just outside the cage, but inside the cage, man. His skills and what he's possessing, and how are you?
Well, I don't even think that makes sense, because I was set to fight somebody else before that. So it really had nothing to do with anybody being against him. I think just some people have to get hyped up before a fight, and they have to kind of make themselves. I don't have to do that. I'm ready to fight anytime. So I don't know. I don't really care about all that. I mean, just look up my resume as an amateur.
Yeah, because you were originally scheduled to fight Josh Mayer. Josh Mayer from ATT Lima. He pulled out for the bare knuckle fight, and Diego Lima from ATT is the one that suggested Walter. So it's not even something that I controlled, Jesse controlled, you controlled. It's one guy from the gym popped out, and another one popped in. As convenient as that.
Yeah, and that was the second time we were set to fight too. Not a lot of people know. A couple years ago, he came down with an ankle injury, so that was 2 times he pulled out. I mean, I get it. Josh is cool. But it just kind of left me hanging, because I got a lot of ticket sales on the line. And so I'm thankful Walter stepped up. I don't know what he's saying, but I'm glad he stepped up, and we'll see what happens when we get to the weigh-ins.
We look forward to having Walter on NFC Now, so he can give his side of the story, because it's only respectful, man. We have you on the show. We got to have your opponent on the show, man, just to talk. Now, one of the last times, maybe not the last time Jesse Wable's amateur series was at Tannery Row, but a very memorable time you had at Tannery Row was your fight against Malcolm Wellmaker, man. Could you just relive those memories as you about to walk back into that same venue?
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of pressure on the line. It was Tannery Row is kind of like SBG's. I like to think of it as like our home stadium. It's right up the road. We always sell out tickets. So there was a lot of pressure there. Usually I do pretty good under pressure. And I don't even think it was the pressure that got to me. I felt like I was doing good. He had a surprisingly good takedown defense, and my game plan was to get him down. I thought I was doing good in the first round, and then I just started feeling those leg kicks. And by the time I was able to read that, try to start checking him, my leg was just dead, and I couldn't even lift it up. And what really got me was in between the second and third round, like I thought I was okay. But what psyched me out was when I looked at my shin and I saw this knot like this big on it. And so psychologically, that's when it kicked in the middle of the fight in that third round. So, I mean, it was a tough loss, but I mean, there's no shame in it. I got an amazing support system with SBG, everybody in the NFC, my family, friends, and they were all out there to support me, win or loss.
You came back a couple months later, and you took a fight on short notice against Nathan Rivera at the district. What was it, 3 days notice?
Yes, I think 2.
2 or 3 days notice, man. You came in and you got the victory. You held the belt. I actually train at SBG Atlanta, and it's.
I heard about that, man. Welcome.
Hey, respect.
I was wondering when it was going to come out. This is when it came out.
I'll see you up there.
Indeed, man. Respect to the gang, but I definitely see your blown up picture with the belt in your hands, man. Could you just relive that moment, man? Just the lead up to the fight, and then actually retaining the belt that night.
I try to relive that every day, but no, it was just kind of sudden. I was at work. I wasn't planning on fighting for a couple of months. I still had some pain in my leg. But Jesse hit me up and he said, "Hey man, I got this opportunity for you. So-and-so backed out, this would be a good chance for you to get your redemption." And I thought about it, part of me was like, dude, don't do it. I mean, you're going to get hurt. And then the other part of me was like, well, maybe, so I talked it over with my coach and my coworkers and just went for it, man. Because I kind of knew in my stomach I wanted to go for it anyway, but people don't realize there's a lot on the line. There's medical bills. It takes 6 to 8 months for those to even get filed before you can even try to pay it off in the first place. And then I got to bother David for some medical bills. So it's just chaos, but I went for it and it worked out. And it's crazy to say that all those years of hard work paid off in just a matter of seconds, and I can barely remember it because it happened so fast. But yeah, it was great.
I think the more memorable time for me was not your fight at Tannery Row, but the fight where you climbed over the cage. Why don't you tell people about that didn't get the opportunity to see that live?
Well, some people might not know the Tipsy Josh, but we were having a good time that day. And my boy Luis, upcoming amateur out of SBG, shout out, had a hell of a fight. Came back after getting taking a few punches on the feet. Came back and got that rear naked. And I think it was the late second or third round. Can't quite remember. But I just lost it. I mean, everybody was there. Once again, it was at Tannery Row. And I was just having a good time. But I kind of felt bad because I was, acting a fool.
Well, let's go ahead and just back it up, man. So if my memory serves me correctly, Luis was getting his ass whooped really, really bad. And he came back in spectacular fashion. Got the rear naked choke. That had to be the fight of the night. The crowd was going crazy. And you may have had a couple of drinks. I was there. I was actually there when you climbed the cage. I feel like you may have startled our girl Kimberly just a little bit.
I was about to say, I didn't know Kimberly had such a good gi grip.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Kimberly had a really good grip on that one. I see people blowing up the comments right now.
Yeah, I think Jenna Lee said she still has the video. And the funny thing is I didn't see that live. Again, many times I don't see things live, and it depends what side of the cage you're on. But I remember you, Josh, messaging me like a day or two later apologizing for it. And I was like, I got no idea what you even did. And then I think Jesse sent me the video, and I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty bad.
No harm, no foul on my end, brother.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think I've climbed on a cage like that after some of my own wins, so I don't know what came over me.
Now,
well, you've also been sober after your own wins.
Now,
maybe a little
you did
punch
mention
drunk.
earlier your coaches, how you had to confide in your coaches, man. And, you rock that SBG on your shirt very proudly, man, everywhere you go, everywhere you are. Could you talk about some of the coaches and what they mean to you, not only just inside the cage, but outside the cage as a man?
Yeah. So I trained at a couple of different gyms before I went to SBG. But there was just something about their aliveness and their culture that really drew me in. I noticed that it wasn't just about selling memberships for them. It was about actually being there for you, helping you grow, teaching you the right techniques, not just trying to sell a membership, but helping people out. They treat you like family. And I've been with those guys for about 7 years. Whether I'm getting ready for a fight or I'm getting ready for a new job or I'm going through a divorce or whatever it is, they've always been there. They've always, hit me up anytime I was going through something. And I just never had that at any other gym or team or school or anything in my entire life. So it's more than a gym. It's more than memberships. It's a culture and it's a community there. And, we don't care who you are, what race, religion, or political affiliation. We just want to, build a tribe and teach people self-defense. And as for my coaches, shout out to Phil, Sean, Woo, Pat, Jim. All those guys have been there for me through thick and thin. So,
if we had no clue who the hell Josh the Dozer Koser is, why should we come out November 4th at Jesse Wable's amateur series to watch you make your pro debut against Walter Flores?
Because I'm entertaining. I'm fun to watch fight. Win or lose, I might not give the best interviews, but you're going to see a fun fight.
I think you're more fun when you don't fight and you get shit-faced. What is a dozer? Besides rhyming with Koser, I've never Googled Dozer. Is a dozer even a word?
I guess it's just short for bulldozer.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which kind of goes into my style and it rhymes.
I've never known that. I've always wondered what it was.
That's actually fascinating.
Yeah.
We're making T-shirts right now with a gorilla riding a bulldozer on the front. So
I was going to tell you were stupid. It kind of always sounded stupid all these years. I meant to ask, but now that I think of a bulldozer, it's not bad.
It makes sense. That's actually fine. Yo,
Yeah.
Josh, my final question to you, man, is why? Why do you fight? Why do you compete? Why are you making your professional debut?
Man, to be honest, I started back in 2010. At first, it was just to kind of prove myself. I was always I started off playing sports, and I was always interested in combat, ancient history, the Spartans, the Vikings. And I had watched some WEC and some UFC my senior year of high school, and I just got inspired by it. So I told myself, I'm going to do that. Not a lot of people believed I could do it. but I did it. And so I guess at first it was just kind of to prove myself, but now I'm in love with the game.
What are the plaques behind you for people that don't know? I know I don't think it was last year, but what are the plaques you have?
The one on the left, that's submission of the year from last year, and then toughest fighter of the year from last year, and then that's the belt.
What do those mean to you?
Everything, man. And not a lot of people realize that in this sport it's going to be hard to make money, but you can't put a price tag on that.
And that's why we do the award show. For people that don't know, that is why we do the award show. The award show has lost money for me every single year since I started at 12 years ago.
So quit bitching about $10, y'all.
Fuck off. Exactly. When I tell people they need to buy their plaques, I charge them exactly what the plaques cost, but there's still security money. There's still venue money. There's still table and chair rental. There's still those things that go into it that people don't see. But that's why I do the awards banquet every year for the last 12 years, except for 1 year because of COVID. We didn't do it during COVID, obviously. But that's why we keep doing that, because the memories that you guys have and stuff like that. And with saying that, I need to figure out a date in January or February for this coming banquet.
For sure. And if people want to make money, just take a page out of my books. Sell tickets, make T-shirts, find sponsorships.
Without saying how, and this is your first pro fight, but when you just talked about that, it made me want to wonder, if you want to say how much money you make per fight in sponsorships and T-shirt sales, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. But to teach other fighters, how do you go out and get those things? How do you acquire a fan base?
Just be a genuine person. Just be yourself. Stop trying to be Conor McGregor. Stop trying to call everybody out online. Just be yourself. Unless that's you, then go for it. But I mean, you got to build relationships with people. You got to branch out. And a lot of the times you don't even ask. People just offer. You know, when you put yourself in that position to build connections like that. Like the other day, I was trying to get a couple of sponsors and they didn't work out. But then lo and behold, somebody at SBG, a landscaper, offered a sponsorship opportunity, which is going to help with medicals and stuff. So I don't think there's enough gratefulness that goes into what you guys do for us. And it's like the same at our gym as well. Like with the coaches and what you guys do for us is more than a lot of promotions and a lot of gyms.
Where can people buy your T-shirts?
Oh, man. So I did a pre-sale. They're all sold out right now. But if anybody's interested, you can always go to my Instagram and DM me. I'll probably make a second order on them, especially for next fight.
As I like to tell people, support a hustler.
Support
a hustler. Support my man Josh, the Dozer, Koser, ahead of your professional debut on Friday, November 4th at Tannery Row. Josh, as always, man, we appreciate you just taking time to join us this evening, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. We'll see y'all.
Good luck next week.